Hello my dear YouTuber friends, and I hope you're all keeping well. Welcome to this new video. Now this is essentially part 2 to my home cockpit setup or build. I did part 1 where I reviewed the sort of frame for the cockpit and where that came from, and that's linked down in the description. I'll link the link to where you can buy that frame for the cockpit in the description as well. But in this video, as you can see, I've got hold of 3 flight instrument panels, Logitech, the old Cytec, essentially, flight instrument panels, and that's the final piece of the puzzle. In this video, I'm actually going to review the Logitech flight instrument panel, show you some of its features, and then I'll give my recommendations and suggestions as to whether they are still worth getting in 2025. Or for Flight Sim 2024 and Flight Sim 2020. I'll also be giving you an update on my cockpit build, where that's at the moment. And more good stuff. So let's not dilly-dally. Let's get on with this video. So the Logitech flight instrument panel. I'll get onto the features of these in just a moment. I just want to share a lovely story with you first. Very moving story. It always moves me anyway. After I did my original review of the cockpit, basically. I'll link that down in the description in case you've not seen it. After I did that, 3 separate people reached out to me. I think 2 on Discord, 1 on YouTube. First person to reach out to me was Glenn over Discord, and they said that they had, what was it, Glenn, 12 or 16, my goodness me, flight instrument panels. They actually showed me a picture, which I'll show you on screen there. That's their old setup. Go and join a Discord, share your flight sim setups if you want to see his latest one. I think you put it in there, didn't you, Glenn? Just take that off screen. Yeah, would I he's not, they weren't using them any longer. Would I be interested in having them? And I thought, yeah, absolutely. I wasn't sure whether they wanted paying for it, but Glenn just said, look, pay the package and posting and I'll send them to you for free, essentially. All I paid was a PMP, which was about £10.95 from memory. So for £10.95, I got 3 flight instrument panels in perfect working order and perfect condition, essentially, which is incredible. Especially later, I'll talk in the video later how much these still are. Ridiculous prices, which is why I'm surprised you had so many, Glenn. But you're not the only person to have so many of these. And 2 other people reached out to me with similar offers. When the flight sim community comes together, it's fantastic. So there you go. Just thought I'll share that story. Let me just get on to the features of this. Just before I do, people, a quick word from this video's sponsor. If you want the ideal package to supplement your flight sim training to help you become the best flight sim pilot of your dreams, then you definitely should buy Interceptor from FS Academy, available for both Xbox and PC on the Flight Sim 2024 marketplace. Interceptor was created by a real-world airline captain. It guides and trains you through fundamental and fascinating flight principles and practices. Things like practicing missed approaches, learning about NDB navigation, or even things like ILS approaches. Containing 30 different, varied, very detailed and substantial training lessons, Interceptor is a must for any budding flight simmer. So thanks very much to Flight Sim Academy for sponsoring this video. Fantastic training package, people. You know I do my back to basic stuff. That really complements it well. Go get it if you haven't. It's on the marketplace for both Xbox and PC. Let's get on to the features of this. Before I do, look at that. You've got the old Satec adverts running. That takes me back. So for the old stuff, these FIP panels, flight instrument panels, pretty much centuries old by now. Satec was the original company. They were bought out by Logitech, so these are now known as Logitech. And you know, Logitech Flight Yoke, it used to be Satec. Look at the adverts. I love that. I know some people didn't like that for some reason. I absolutely love it. It's very retro, isn't it? It's got buttons down the side there. I'll explain those in a moment. A couple of knobs. Difficult to see there. And a couple of buttons there. These buttons at the bottom is what you'd use. I have to put my finger behind so it doesn't fall over. To go between the different screens. See if I can do this one-handed. Ah, there we go. So there's 15 of these different screens included. Now you can see the buttons at the side lit up nice and well. And those buttons have turned orange. Some of those buttons do work with some of the features. I believe you need to use SPAD next or something of that sort. Maybe I'll do a future video. I did do a future video way back on SPAD. I'll link it just so you know what it is. But I've not done anything with it since. But there you go, altimeter. And I believe these knobs here, yeah, so if you get a Q and H and it's slightly off, you can alter your altimeter from them. Isn't that neat? I do like that. Let's go between. Let me just look over the camera so I can see what I'm pressing. There we go. Airspeed next. Like I said, there's 15 of these, so I'll try and get through them in sharp time. 15 screens by default. And I believe, again, with SPAD next, you can start altering things now. Why is that? I do have, I'm not sure why that's on its sideline, I do have Flight Sim 2020 running on my laptop, which is just to the side of me. It's just easier than bringing my PC down here. I tried it on my PC, these panels, they all work with Flight Sim 2024. I did have to load in an alternate driver, which I will link in the description. That's the way I got mine working. Then I had to restart the sim a couple of times and they were up and running. In both Flight Sim 2020 and Flight Sim 2024. Again, I'm just going to look over the camera so I can see what I'm pressing. There you go. Another one, a sort of bearing compass. And again, you can use these, I think for something like, you got your heading knob there. So if you're in heading mode, you can do it via that. And this one will be like VOR, NDB navigation, I believe, or something of that sort. Surprised me. I thought it would be much less functional than this. But again, the buttons at the side, most of them don't work in the sim, at least, that I've found. But you can, like I said, use SPAD next and you can start messing around with those buttons and displays even. Turn coordinator, handy. Vertical speed. Now, I'm thinking which three of these displays will I have? Definitely vertical speed for one. It's just handy for me to look up. So when I get my cockpit all set up, and you know, a big screen behind it, and goodness knows what, my controls there, I'll probably have vertical speed as one of them. Probably airspeed, like you can see there. And I'm not sure about the third one yet. But you get the idea. Let's just go through each of these screens for you. There you go. That's another one. And you've got things like Nav1. I've not tested these properly yet. Whether these work if you have Nav mode selected and goodness knows what. Possible. But you can use the knobs again to change your heading. See that line in the middle, how it's moving around. So you can use most of the functions on it. Another one. That'll be for VOR flying. That one I may have up. That'll be handy for VOR to VOR flying. Now these work here. I've used them in the sim. Both Flight Sim 2020 and 2024. You can use the parking brake. It's set automatically as your parking brake. And pushback in both sims by default. Sound I couldn't get working, but I'm not sure what some of those are. There you go, OBS. So engines and oil and temps and goodness knows what. So you see lots of handy, that's like your HSI, isn't it? Very, very useful. You got your trim on the side here. Now, if I had a controller connected, I could show you that working. It does work fine. So when you trim up, I could use F1, F2, but I've not got a flight loader. Flaps, they work as well. See, those buttons are gone blank, so there's no commands for that, but that's quite a nice one. That's your RPM and flaps indicator. I'm not sure, that looks quite nice. So I've got to decide which ones I'm going to keep when I have the 3 of them set up for real. Which ones would be most useful for me, essentially. So I hope my camera works okay. I'm looking over the side. There you go, airspeed, that. Yeah, I've got that up. That's probably more likely one of them. And then we're back to the splash screen. So 15 of those screens. Some nice functionality within them. But, you know, well, I'll tell you what. Let me just get onto the part where I talk about the price and my recommendations or not for this. Okay, conclusions, recommendations, and what the status is with my cockpit at the moment. Do I recommend these now? No. Simple as enough. They are novel. I'm glad I got to try them. Glad I got them for the cockpit. To be honest, no. I'm going to link the Logitech website for this. Go and look at it. I'm not linking it as a recommendation. I'm linking it for reference. 140 blooming quid. What are they thinking now? Okay, back in the day you had little option. So, you know, I guess you could argue a couple of centuries ago they may have been worth it. They are quite novel and neat little units. Not now for that kind of price. They should knock that price down immediately to £50 and under. 140 quid on the Amazon. I'm not going to link that one, but Amazon.co.uk and US websites. £160 on the Logitech Amazon website. What are they bloody thinking? It's ludicrous. It's one of the only time I'm going to say do not buy these new. If you can get them second hand for £30 or £40, go for it. Yeah, they are quite novel, quite good fun. If you've got a cockpit where you can fit them in, go with it. You might as well buy a small screen, small second monitor, which are relatively cheap nowadays. I was looking at them yesterday for around £40 or £50. I've not covered this in my videos yet, but you can set them up for your HSI, your G1000. You can do much more with a small little screen connected to your cockpit nowadays. These are hard to recommend unless you get these for pennies. £30, £40 maximum on these. Other than that, I just simply cannot recommend them. There you go, surprise, the first time I've done that, and it's Logitech as well. Has Haddison lost his mind? He's not recommended Logitech panels? Not at that price. Not at the retail price. If you get them for much lower, but then you're probably best getting, like I said, a second small screen, and you can do much more. It's much more versatile. So there you go. Going forward, cockpit's the last piece of the puzzle, isn't it? I've got my multi-panel radio panel that's slot in there, my XPC yoke that will slot down there. I can even use my Logitech yoke, but that's back in the south in storage, so it'll be my XPC yoke in there. Got to find a small table. I've got an idea for my room upstairs, and I do want to get it up and running to show you part 3, and I'm just interested. Now I've got these, I just really want that cockpit. There's a chance of me having a proper cockpit set up. It's the last piece of the puzzle. So stay tuned, probably for the 3rd and final part when I've got it all up and running. So there you go, people. Logitech Flight instrument panel, not worth buying in 2025 unless you can get them very cheap for second hand. And my cockpit status. Do give the video a like if you've enjoyed it. Thanks very much, Glenn, and anybody else who reached out to me once again. Hugely appreciated. Give the video a like if you've enjoyed it. Subscribe for more. And I'll see you soon.